Chapter 31, Section 9, Staphylococcus aureus infections. Okay, Staphylococcus aureus, gram-positive cocci. Random plane of division. So instead of nice long chains like strepto, they're dividing in any such way, so they start forming clumps, or as the original microbiologist thought, clusters. Staphylo, Greek for grape cluster. And that's what they thought it looked like, just clumps, clusters of these grapes. Causes quite a few diseases. Some forms of acne caused by staphylococcal skin infections. Boils, pimples, impetigo, just like we saw with streptococcus, pneumonia for the different staphs, osteomyelitis, carditis, meningitis, and arthritis. Different species, different places that are infecting, things like that. So all the Staphylococcus, or here you look Staphylococcus aureus. So all the staphylococci form these clumps. Now, how many are going to be in the clumps are going to be different species to species. Some of them, tetrads. Some of them, just big, huge clumps that will continue growing, as you see here. But so that they can do that clump thing, that means that instead of a nice ordered planes of division like we saw strep, random. So which way are they going to split? Will be random cell to cell. And when you look at the infections, remember toxin, pimples, impetigo, things like that, you have the boil, the pimple, whatever, down into either a pore or some opening in the skin, a scrape, a cut, or just like I said, a pore, hair follicle, whatever. The bacteria get down in, and what they start to do is excrete toxins, excrete exoenzymes that go through and start breaking down the tissues, start killing cells, things like that. Inflammation and whatnot will cause the area around it to swell as more, remember the inflammation is fluid leaving the cardiovascular system and entering into the surrounding tissues. Spread the tissues up a bit, plump them up, and in that fluid that's exiting out your bloodstream is coming antibodies, complement, all sorts of other proteins that could be there for aiding in control. All that extra fluid also makes it easier for monocytes to leave the bloodstream, become macrophages in the tissues, for neutrophils to exit out, and things like that to go hunt down anything not you. Well, unfortunately, though, it causes this red swollen. You'll end with, the pore, whatever there, because of the inflammation, will close up a bit. And the bacterial overgrowth, the fluid from the inflammation, and then the fluid from the damaged surrounding tissues, well, that becomes the pus. Pus collects enough, and then the next thing you know, pop. Students will ask, what's the difference between a pimple and a boil? Size. Pimple, one little pore area, one little hair follicle. A boil is a much larger area, swollen, pus-filled. Staph aureus, as we have seen in lab, mannitol salt, blood agar, two ways to isolate and identify. Mannitol salt on the left shows that, yes, other things can grow there, but Staphylococcus aureus is the one that will ferment. Ferments the mannitol, changes the pH, and there you go.